Hey, I'm sorry. Aren't you,
Oh, yes. I played the Mandarin, but that was over bloody 10 years ago, and I was just a puppet. And whatever theories you've seen on Reddit are totally false. I had nothing to do with Pizzagate. I'm not a member of the Illuminati, and I did not have my hands replaced with baby hands. And here we go.
It's the comic book bullies.
Man, you come right out of a comic book.
It's the comic book bullies.
You will bow down before me!
It's the comic book bullies.
Now I am the master.
It's the comic book bullies. It's the comic book bullies.
All right, give it to me.
The following contains offensive language and spoilers. Listener discretion is advised. Da 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 da.
I don't know how long you're gonna be. I thought you were gonna go to the bridge part. You didn't take it to the bridge. Welcome back to the Comic Book Bullies, Nerds and Bullying host Leroy, aka Simon Says. Like, share, and subscribe. Oh, look at them graphics, Eli.
Ooh, sweet.
Yeah, that's where the money goes. With my co-host.
Yeah, this is Eli, aka Shortbread Wookie.
There you go. Boop. Yep, and we're back with another episode. You ready to graphic? Back with another new episode, and of course, you haven't figured it out. We're talking about pretty much one topic this episode, but we're gonna see. We may jump into a whole bunch of other stuff. I don't know. Before we get to that topic, I want you to know who did it better, Eli? Wonder Man or The Weeknd? Just Wonder Man. Okay, but anyway, so before we get into Wonder Man, we do have to talk about this. Like I said, this is technically February 1st or 2nd, one or the other. Black History Month.
Oh yeah.
Bam, we're gonna talk about Black History Month right now. Yeah. Yeah, we gotta talk about Black History Month because that is the month where I normally only spike up because I just concentrate on that the whole time. So let me say, Eli, you know the rule
Okay.
of every Black History Month. You know you've been here long enough. No white women.
Oh.
So
Okay.
you gotta change your filter, your search filter just for this month. March, you can go back to what you're doing before, but this month, that's gonna be it. Also, no loopholes, because I see how y'all out there right now. No redheads. So, that's it. Now, can you do Latinas? Only Dominicans and Puerto Ricans. That's it. The ones that count. We'll go back to original schedule programming in March, but until then, that's it. So, yeah, that's all we got. Oh, and can I show you the post that got us in trouble?
Sure.
Okay. So on Threads, I posted a little thing that got a little more viral than I thought it was gonna go. This one. So yeah.
What does that say? I can't even read that.
You can't read it. Don't worry. You play it back when later on when you watch it. But yeah, this kind of got us in trouble.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. People thought it was funny, but when people start reading to it, now I'm starting getting those weird comments. I'm like, now it's getting political. I'm not gonna take it down. I'm gonna leave it up and I'll probably get in trouble tomorrow, but we'll see how it goes. So yeah. But even though we ban white women, Eli, we do have to make an exception.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to make an exception because we got to pay our due diligence. Rest in peace to Catherine O'Hara.
Oh, yeah.
We got to pay, like I said, everybody knows it. You've seen her face. She's been around for decades. You know what she looks like. Those who don't know, she is the mom on Home Alone, the worst mom in movie history. Also, the second worst mom in movie history, Beetlejuice.
Yeah, she was in Beetlejuice.
She was in both of them. So yeah,
Night Before Christmas. She voiced Night Before Christmas.
A lot of Tim Burton stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. What did she got?
Where the Wild Things Are movie too, as well.
What is that? I don't know that.
You don't remember Where the Wild Things? Oh, it's great. Check it out. It's the book.
I'll Google it.
The book Where the Wild Things Are. They made it into a movie a decade ago, more than a decade ago. It's been a while.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna click this. I don't even know what this is. I'm about to click. Nope, not that. This. She was also in the most recent thing she was in was The Studio. Which we actually talk about. You need to watch it. It's hilarious. Matter of fact, because of the show we're reviewing this week, this is going to come up a lot because I see a lot of similarity between Wonder Man in the studio, but the studio is hilarious. Eli, you would love it.
Okay, I hear it's good. I just don't have Apple. So.
Oh yeah, you say it like you blaming it on me. I'm sorry, I tried.
I go through it. Maybe I'll get it again when Monarch comes on. Maybe.
Maybe at the time, put pencil the studio down in there when because Monarch gonna piss you off. So at least have a palate cleanser ready to go. So, yeah, but they say now that being said, all that's pretty cool. That she played in all the stuff like that. But like I said, she played in Home Alone also. And when Macaulay Culkin, did his what Walk of Fame, not Walk of Fame, Hall of Fame? Which one? Walk of Fame, Hall of Fame? Walk of Fame.
The Star of Fame, or
Star of Fame. One of those things. The thing he did, that she was there. She was there with him.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, he actually put up a post, man, that actually, caught me off guard. I was like, let me see, let's throw it up there. Yeah. Probably can't read it. Let me see. Yeah, basically saying like, Mama, I missed you. We didn't have enough time, stuff like that. And I was like, oh man, he really got me with that. Cause then you got to think about how he grew up. For those who don't know about Macaulay Culkin growing up, I mean, his parents were kind of a piece of shit. Kind of, they were like stealing from him and stuff like that, from what I was hearing. Like if he did come out more fucked up when he grew up, you completely understand what the childhood he had. But it kind of makes you think about it that he was probably closer to her than he was his biological mom.
Mm.
So that post kind of got to me. So reading that stuff. So yes, want to say rest in peace to Catherine O'Hara. So yeah, like I said, she played a bunch of other stuff too. That's just the stuff on top of my head I was naming.
Yeah.
Also another due diligence.
Well, good journey to her. Yeah.
Good journey to her. We also got another due diligence we're gonna talk about. I'm not gonna screw this up. Damon Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Damon Wilson. From found it. Cool. First try. Damon Wilson from Sanford and Son. Everybody know he was Lamont from Sanford and Son. Played on that and played a bunch of other stuff also. That was like the main thing both of them were known from. Little known fact for those who don't know, Sanford and Son was an adaptation of a British sitcom called Steptoe and Son.
Yeah, I believe you told me that.
I think I told you that. Now, Eli, notice how nobody got pissed off that they race swapped them? Just ain't nobody was saying woke in the 70s, nothing like that. Everybody just kind of just rolled with it and just went from there. So we can learn from that. We may be talking about that later on. Well, you may be talking about that later on. I'm not going to touch it.
We can learn, but we won't.
We won't. History will repeat itself.
Yeah, these stupid fuckers ain't gonna learn shit.
We're not gonna make it as a human race, are we? All right. So that being said, we move past that. Can we no longer dilly-dally? Can we just jump into it?
Well, good journey to him. Yeah. Let's get going.
Okay, let's jump into it. Like I said, we may or may not have a lot of show. We're going to find out what was going on right now. So we decided to, like I said, we're going to talk about Wonder Man, the TV show, but we got to remember this is a comic book podcast. So before we jump into the Wonder Man TV show, I have to dig into the Wonder Man comic. I have to give the comic book lore of Wonder Man because it's the only time I will ever get a chance to talk about Wonder Man comic book lore on this show.
You've been waiting for this.
I've been waiting to this since the show started to deep dive into Wonder Man lore because I had no excuse to do it. So basically what's going to happen is, so Wonder Man is white in the comics. I'm going to talk about white Wonder Man, and Eli's going to talk about black Wonder Man on the TV show. So, yeah.
I'll try my best to represent.
Don't worry. You got this. Everybody on the audio podcast think you black anyway. So don't worry. What am I talking about? Everybody on the video podcast think you black anyway.
Well, here I go. Proof of life. Here I am.
Oh, no. Okay.
I ain't black, but I ain't white either.
Oh, shit. This show is woke.
Yeah.
It's a woke ass podcast.
Yeah. I am not AI, even though as a robot as my avatar. And shout out to the Doombots. We didn't give a shout out to the Doombots.
I think it's shout. You know what that means? They're gonna come for us. Shout out to the Doombots. Sorry, I didn't mean we jumped head first into this podcast. So yeah, let's go to it. All right, so let's talk about Wonder Man. Now, like I said, we're gonna talk about Wonder Man deep lower dive and just jump into it. So Wonder Man was he started as Avenger. Here's the thing about Wonder Man. He's actually the first he was an Avenger. He's been in Avengers for decades and years, stuff like that. They kind of just fell to the wayside because of popularity, not really popular. But Wonder Man is the first Avenger that was invented in Avengers comics. If that makes any sense. Because the first Avengers were, Iron Man, Ant-Man, Hulk, and stuff like that. None of them were created in the Avengers comics.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I get
Now you're gonna a lot of people saying that Vision was the first one. Because Wonder Man predates him. This was in 1960. I don't know what 3, 5, 6. Well, I don't know what it was. It was like the ninth issue of the Avengers comics. So that was where Wonder Man came in. Wonder Man originally started off as a villain. He was an Avengers villain in a comic book. He got his powers from Baron Zemo. Baron Zemo basically wanted to create an army of supervillains to basically kill the Avengers. So he basically hit Wonder Man with ionic powers. If it sounds familiar from the TV show, it was in the comic also. What does ionic power means? It means whatever the fuck you want it to mean. It don't really matter. Point is,
like
Wonder Man,
kind of like quantum
kind of like quantum. It's just whatever you want it to mean. That's what it means.
or cosmic.
Yeah, you just throw a word around, just see where it goes. So Stan Lee loved just doing stuff back then in the 60s. Just throw a name, Gamma. Just throw it on
Gamma.
there. Who knows what it means? It is what it is. So yeah. So he fought the Avengers, and obviously he didn't kill the Avengers. He actually ended up getting killed himself, and he was like gone for like 10 years in the comics. Like nobody's seen him, stuff like that. Like I said, I brought up earlier that it made him become a cease and desist from DC, where because his name was too close to Wonder Woman, Stan Lee basically killed him off. That may or may not be true. Maybe I made this shit up. I don't know. Point was, he was gone for like 10 years. Came back in the 70s, had like a whole man at a time thing going on like that. And when he came back in the 70s, he had a best friend, Beast. Yes, that Beast.
Mm-hmm.
So him and Beast are best friends. A lot of the Avengers comics, like in the 70s, 80s, was them just partying, getting drunk, just hanging out and shit like that. Just like a sitcom and shit like that. And it didn't really make any sense, but that's what it was. Now, here's where it get interesting. Like the most interesting thing about Wonder Man ain't got nothing to do with Beast and Baron Zemo and all this shit like that. This whole panel, he's Scarlet Witch's ex.
Okay.
And there's also features his two brothers on the panel, Grim Reaper and Vision. Now I know what you're thinking, that Vision is a robot, how's that his brother? Okay, that's where things get interesting. Because when Ultron made Vision, he used Vision's he mimicked the brainwaves of Simon Williams, Wonder Man. Because he's like, Wonder Man's dead anyway, but he's not been used to anything. So, cause like I said, he was gone for like 10 years. So he basically copied Wonder Man's brain patterns and cloned a Vision's brain after him. So Vision's brain is Wonder Man's brain. So when Wanda found out about that, she was like, well, why am I messing with a robot? Why don't I, get a piece of the real thing? So now you got this whole love triangle going on right there where, Vision and Wonder Man kind of hate each other, but at the same time, they realize they're the same guys, so they're kind of cool with each other. So it's a weird love triangle dynamic because technically Wonder Man and Vision refer to each other as brothers, So that's the best part of Wonder Man's story. Him, Vision, Wanda. Look, that's like my favorite love triangle in comics. That right there. But like I said, show does none of that stuff. Oh, and after the 90s, like I said, he decided to quit the Avengers, decided to go to Hollywood because he was recruited by some talent agent that was like, hey, you can be a stuntman. I mean, you're super strong. You can just crash a car off into a building or run off a cliff and walk away from it because you're a superhero. You're like, cool. So he decided to go to Hollywood. But then he started getting bigger roles. He actually became a Hollywood leading man in the comics. That was a thing. He went to Hollywood and it was a thing. So he got big for a while. Okay, remember that show, The Fall Guy?
Yeah.
It was that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the comic turned into. So yeah.
And then is it Guardians 2 where they make a reference to that?
Well, they did. It's a deleted scene.
Is it a deleted scene?
It's a deleted scene. It actually wasn't in the movie. It was he was supposed to be played by Nathan Fillion.
Yeah, but wasn't there like a marquee, some movie and starring Simon Williams in the background?
I think they cut it. I think if you watch the deleted scenes that's in there, I think like at that Dairy Queen when they were blowing up shit, I think it was there, but I think when the actual movie came out, they cut that scene.
Okay.
But yeah.
I do recall that. That's all.
Mm-hmm. But originally Simon Williams was going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 as a like Easter egg, something like that. He was going to be played by Nathan Fillion because Nathan Fillion is in every James Gunn movie. That's just how it is. So yeah. But since they didn't do it, they decided to change it up. So yeah, that's my Wonder Man deep lore dive. I could go deeper, but why? So yeah.
When are you gonna get a chance though, man?
I had my chance. I'm good now. I shouldn't click this, but I'm gonna click it now. I don't know what that is.
That's
virus.
Spam.
Thanks for listening. Or thanks for reporting this. I don't know, whatever. All right. So that's what we got here. So now I'm gonna throw it to Eli. And since I talk about White Wonder Man on Black History Month, he's gonna talk about Black Wonder Man, the TV show that came out. So
Did you watch this?
I did, yeah, I watched it.
Okay, I'm just checking.
I'm like the world's biggest Wonder Man fan. Of course you knew I was gonna watch it.
Because I was like, because when I said I took some notes on it, you're like, okay, it's your show. I'm like, oh, did you not watch it or something?
No, this show was woke. I ain't watch it. Like, no. If it ain't white, it ain't right. No. But I'm gonna let you go first. I got some notes. I ain't really got notes. I'm gonna just say what I gotta say. But you go ahead and say what you gotta say on it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Wonder Man on Disney Plus, the new Disney show, the Marvel Spotlight series, I guess. Is it supposed to be like an Elseworld or separate from the regular?
Well, okay.
What is that? Because what is the other Marvel spot? We have Echo and what? Werewolf by Night?
Werewolf by Night, yes. But what they're saying is that it's in continuity, but they specifically design it where you ain't got to watch all this stuff to watch. Like you basically watch it as a one-off thing.
It's its own thing. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's basically what they're saying. So
So
yeah.
Wonder Man.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Shaka Khan. Okay. Okay. Wonder Man, the TV show, the new Marvel TV show. It follows Simon Williams, who is an actor who's actually difficult to work with.
Mm-hmm.
He overthinks the script and gets fired from roles even after he's landed them. He's struggling to find an acting job. And then he befriends Trevor Slattery, the guy who played the Mandarin in Iron Man 3 and Shang-Chi. Was he in? Yeah.
Oh, you're missing one. Return of the King.
Was he? I don't
Yeah,
know.
so this is fourth time playing Trevor Slattery.
Okay.
Sir
right.
being Kingsley, I meant to say, but yeah.
You know, and so he befriends Trevor, and they find out that an Oscar-winning director is making a Wonder Man movie, and they decide to audition for the film. And
well, a remake of Wonder Man because he saw it when he was growing up. So
yeah. Simon Williams is actually a Wonder Man fan. He saw this movie as a kid, so he always wanted to play it, and they auditioned for the film, but it turns out that Trevor is working with damage control, and they want him to spy on Simon Williams because he secretly possesses superpowers.
Right.
And in this MCU, in this MCU universe, this world, superpowered individuals are not allowed to work in Hollywood.
Which they explain. They have a very good episode. Well, honestly, my favorite episode of why they don't. But
yeah. So Simon has to hide his powers since he wants to be an actor.
Otherwise, he get kicked out of Hollywood.
Yeah. So this was not what I was expecting. When I first saw the trailer, I was thinking it was going to be like She-Hulk or Deadpool, maybe like a parody or a satire with meta references that sort of pokes fun at the superhero genre. That's what I was thinking. But this turned out to be more of a character study. And so much more.
Right.
And even though it caught me off guard and it wasn't what I expected, I ended up really enjoying it.
What? You like the Marvel project?
I did. Yeah, I really kind of like this. Like I said, at first I was caught off guard by the first 2 episodes because I was like, what is this? What is this doing?
Right.
But once we got to the 3rd episode and you were introduced to his family, I was, okay, this is this isn't your normal Marvel thing because there is no big superhero spectacle with epic action scenes.
Right. Like who is the villain of this show?
Yeah, it's all just dramatic weight and character depth. So by the 3rd episode, I was hooked. Okay, this is more of a drama. And I was hooked because I was really started to enjoy the characters and their dynamics and how it sort of became just like a drama or almost like a play where it's just actors bouncing dialogue off each other and exploring their inner struggles.
Because that's the thing, like this show wouldn't work unless the actors weren't as good as they were.
Yeah, the performances are great. And but I liked how it took the comic book themes and comic book movies, the comic book movies genre, and sort of looked at it through the lens of an actor and the cinematic process. Because on the surface, the show is just about a couple of guys who become friends.
Right.
It's Trevor. He's like the older mentor with all this acting experience. and he coaches Simon on how to be a better actor by trusting himself and accepting his inner flaws, which ends up leading him to become a better person in the end. So that's
Right.
kind of what the story arc is. But then there's also this examination on the filmmaking process and the acting process and how movies are made, the business side of Hollywood, and just how the actors figure out how to do their performances. So this is not so much about satire, but like an exploration on the movie business and how the movie business exploits art. You know,
Right.
like the idea of art versus commerce. You know, the movie business is a creative industry that's sort of, it's full of artists, but that art that they create has to sell and turn a profit, you know, or else these artists will lose their jobs, you know.
Right.
So there's this theme of artists having to compromise their integrity and their creative voice in order to sell a product, you know, which then leads to superficial and shallow art, where art just becomes a byproduct for mass consumption, you know.
Right.
You know, so art, it becomes art with no real depth and has no real deep statement to make, which is what critics have been accusing Marvel for doing for years.
Right.
You know, we all remember how Martin Scorsese triggered all the nerds, and when he said what he said,
Right.
you
Not
know?
and they're not real movies and all this stuff like
Yeah.
that. So yeah.
So I thought that this Marvel show went there was pretty bold, and actually they did it in a way that was, I felt, was quite brilliant. You know, because there's this idea of secret identities, you know, and pretending to be someone else, which is what an actor does, you know. And it's also what we as comic book fans did when we were kids. We pretended to be superheroes and have these cool powers, you know.
Right.
But then you have Simon, who had to pretend to not have superpowers,
Right.
you know. And this goes beyond the Superman motif, where he had to pretend to be Clark Kent, a human, to disguise himself from being Superman. But
Yeah, because he's not trying to walk two worlds or anything like that.
yeah,
No,
but
he-
Superman could still be Superman. Simon couldn't use his powers at all. He had to hide it, you know, if he wanted to.
Well,
be
let's
an
just
actor.
say it. Simon's in the closet.
Yeah. So yeah, there's this, becoming an actor was just this natural thing for him since he grew up hiding who he really was, and he got used to acting like someone else.
Because he can be somebody else other than himself. So
Yeah, so this show really explored that dynamic of what it means to not just be a hero, but also how to accept and be yourself. And that extends to Trevor's character, who was pretending to be a villain, but he wasn't really, you know, and he was pretending to be Simon's friend until he actually grew to become Simon's friend in real, you know, at the end and gain his trust. But he's also putting on a performance, you know.
Right.
And then, of course, when we talk about that doorman episode where, you know, the guy who worked at the Hollywood nightclub, he didn't want to be an actor or a celebrity. He was kind
Didn't care about any of this stuff, right?
yeah, he was content with his life. And even his boss told him, like, yo, you've been working here so long, you know, like, you know, everybody's in this city, everybody in Hollywood isn't happy because they want to be something else. They want to be famous. They want to, you know, they want to work in Hollywood and be famous. But the doorman wasn't interested in any of that. He was kind of happy with how his life was. But then he gains these powers and saves everyone from that fire and then becomes a real life hero by accident. But then what does he do? He exploits his powers and uses them to gain wealth and fame. So that's the opposite of Spider-Man.
Right.
You know, he is not
Because Spider-Man
responsible.
did the same thing, exactly.
Yeah, he is not responsible with his great powers. He abuses his powers for like personal gain and wealth, you know. So I really like that this show wasn't your paint by numbers comic book punchy punch story. It explored like relationships and the issues of trust and finding that self-confidence, because Simon was always questioning everything. He was so uptight about how everyone saw him and that how he felt he couldn't be himself and how he had to hide who he was from everyone. And I like that scene where his agent
Right.
is like, okay, we need that audition. Just put words on the tape. Don't start overthinking with that bullshit. Or she was, you know?
He does the exact opposite, but yeah.
Yeah, because that's what it reminded me of Tootsie, that scene in Tootsie where the agent is bitching as like, you can't get a job. No one will hire you. You got fired from a tomato commercial.
Right.
It's like, because you wouldn't sit down. He's like, yeah, a tomato doesn't have legs. How can I sit down? Like that's what that scene reminded me of, you know. But as you said before, this show's about a lot of things and can be read a lot of ways. I also think, yes, this can also be seen as a metaphor for being gay in Hollywood.
Absolutely, because he don't want it. His thing, you could say gay, but it's honestly about cancel culture.
That too.
He don't want to get canceled. That's the thing. It meant
Yeah.
you could be gay. He could be a Republican. Maybe he beats his wife. Maybe he eats people. Whatever you want to say. Well, the point is he don't want it to get out. You know.
Yeah, you know. But in the past, there was a lot of celebrities that hid that they were gay, like George
Or
Takei.
actually, like in the past, they had to find the fact. Maybe he's a communist.
Yeah, the Red Scare. Yeah,
That shit would have got you out of Hollywood quick.
yeah. But like George Takei, he kept his identity secret for decades.
Right.
You know, and the fact that Simon and Trevor were watching Midnight Cowboy just
Eli,
anchors that.
I wasn't ready. You should have warned me when I watched that movie.
Oh yeah,
I thought it was about a Western in New York.
No. So Midnight Cowboy is a deconstruction of the Western.
Yes, I didn't know it was about a gay male prostitute and his pimp. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, well there you go. So for those who don't know, Midnight Cowboy is a very like influential film as like the new Hollywood movement. You know, it basically took like deconstructed the Western. He's a cowboy, goes to New York, and ends up becoming a male prostitute and homeless. And it's kind of a sad movie, but it is the first movie to win an Oscar that was rated X. You know.
Yeah.
But that movie was again about two guys sort of becoming these outsiders that become friends and all that. It sort of parallels that. So that's what the show kind of parallels that, that movie. So yeah, so the Midnight Cowboy just kind of anchors that idea as well, as far as like, hiding gay actors, hiding that they're gay in Hollywood,
Right.
But that's the sort of theme of not being true to yourself and the social pressure to hide a secret identity, which again goes into the comic book motif, superheroes and their secret identities, their alter egos, and that's just a universal theme that everyone can relate to. We all tend to have this self-doubt and try to pretend to be something we're not, especially in this internet generation. We're just not as cool as our online profiles say we are,
Right, because online we can be whatever we want to be.
Yeah.
It's basically like wearing a mask.
Yeah, but ultimately, Simon learns to trust himself and accept who he is, and he accepts his powers and uses them for what he feels is right in the end, which is to rescue his friend.
Right.
So, the show caught me by surprise. I didn't expect this to just be a straightforward drama, and I didn't expect it to enjoy it as much as I did.
Right. Especially with like no fight scenes.
Yes.
No real villain. No big CGI smash ups and shit like that.
Yeah. No big superhero Marvel spectacle. It kind of reminded me of Andor, where Andor didn't have lightsabers.
A lot of people are making those comparisons to this and Andor.
There's no lightsabers or giant space battles or the large bombastic action set pieces you'd expect from Star Wars.
Both this and Andor are trying to tell a story that normally doesn't fit in the genre they're in.
Yeah.
Like Andor isn't trying to tell a Star Wars. I mean, it's in Star Wars, but it's trying to tell more than just a Star Wars story.
Yeah, it was more subdued.
Same thing with Wonder Man. It's trying to deal more. It's trying to give you more than what a Marvel movie does or Marvel TV show does.
Yeah, it's more subdued and focused on characters and ideas.
But I got to play something. I didn't put notes in them to that. Does that hold it back?
I don't know, and that's a debate. I mean, because yes, it's not what comic book fans to expect. There's very little superhero action in this show.
And that's the thing, because you got a lot of people, like I'm saying, I'm loving the show, Eli, just like you love the show. But there are a lot of online people watching this show. They're like, man, this fucking show sucks. It's boring. There's no fight scenes. What the fuck am I watching this show? What's the point of watching the show? What's the point of watching any show?
Yeah, because there wasn't any cameos. Thor. Or the
Where's
X-Men
Dr. Doom? Where's the Fantastic Four?
Yeah.
What does this set up? Is he gonna be in Doomsday? Like,
it doesn't set up really 10 more movies or shows, and there's no constant Easter eggs.
Right. And we make fun of them, Eli, but should we make fun of them? Because at the same time, like I said, at the end of the day, this is a Marvel movie. Marvel TV show, I
Yeah.
meant to say. So when you watch something that has Marvel on it, shouldn't you get some Marvel stuff? Like if I go to Waffle House, I don't ask for sushi.
Yeah,
I go to a different restaurant for that shit. So if I'm coming to Marvel, I expect to see Marvel shit. Now I'm not, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I'm just saying.
and
So
I understand that. I think if people are looking for big superhero spectacle, yeah, they're going to be disappointed. You
yeah,
know, but if you remain open-minded and just like go with it and get into what the characters and what it's trying to say, you know,
Mhm.
I think, you know, I found this to be one of the best Marvel shows, dare I say that, you know.
And like you say, you keep putting in Marvel shows. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like I was saying, if we're going to watch a show like this, why don't we watch another show that's not in that? Like I was saying, The Studio,
Yeah.
which is almost the same damn show.
Or you know what this reminded me of too?
What's that?
Birdman with Michael Keaton.
Birdman with Michael Keaton. Yes. Like I
That's
said, it was the same thing where he was, and that was a whole thing about actors versus actors in that also.
And characters and being pigeonholed into certain roles and him wanting to expand his work and his, you know, his creativity, but being forced to, you know, that's why he took the play. But he was, oh, this is the guy who played Birdman.
That whole thing was
Yeah.
meta because like Michael Keaton, like based invented superhero genre, watching Robert Downey Jr.,
Yeah.
getting all these accolades like that. He was like, I gave this idiot the keys to the kingdom.
Yeah.
It was funny when he said because it's like meta, the whole thing he was
Yeah.
saying. So yeah, but that's what I'm saying, Eli. Why if you're wanting a show like this when you can watch those other shows which hit the same point and they don't have that Marvel stigma around it? Because that's the thing, Marvel has a stigma around what they're trying to do. Let me talk about Marvel for a second. And this show kind of cemented to me what Marvel has been trying to do post Endgame. Marvel has been trying to branch out from the superhero genre. Now they have levels of success with that because they prove with Endgame they can out superhero anybody.
Mhm.
They gave you the superhero movie of superhero movies. So what can they do from there? Just make more superhero movies? No, let's try to branch out. Now they tried to branch out, making WandaVision was not a TV show that would have made, pre-Endgame.
Yeah.
Or this or Miss Marvel or anything like that because
Or
it's
She-Hulk, you know.
they would have never thought about making
Yeah,
She-Hulk.
they tried to branch out, but they still tried to, give that product. They still tried to give you that familiar Marvel-ness, that Marvel taste. And I think that's what separates this from those, because I feel like they really explored and experimented with this show. Because okay, we talked about
the other shows they still had like Agatha all along. I
Yeah.
keep forgetting about that show, but and to me that's one of their best shows also. But the thing is, if they gave you Marvel stuff in those shows mixed with this is just we're just gonna go way out here.
Yeah, people shitted on She-Hulk because it was a comedy and whatever, but it still had superhero battles and Daredevil, and it still gave you the Marvel flavor,
Right.
But this is totally something else. And when you saw Francis Ford Coppola, you saw Megalopolis,
Yeah.
that's where Marvel has reached a point where, like, you know what, we're so successful that we can pretty much do whatever the fuck we want because we've earned it. And I feel like that's what this is. This is them trying to try something different, trying to, go in a different direction and be experimental. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And Megalopolis, no, it didn't work, But I felt like for me, this wasn't the same old MCU superhero shit. It was its own thing, and I was okay with that. I was cool with it, and I found it to be a great show, and it kind of gives me hope that the MCU can try different things.
No, they're killing this show. We're gonna go back to Robert Downey Jr. and all.
I'm sure, yeah. I mean, that Doomsday is gonna give us the same old shit that everybody likes.
Yeah, because people are already asking, "Oh, how is this setting up season 2?" You'll never see these characters again.
And that's fine. And because I think this is its own thing and it can be in its own thing, it took chances. It said a lot of things. And, like I said, it said a lot about character. It said a lot about trusting yourself and self-confidence and trusting other people,
Because at the end of the day, the one thing about this show that's so great is that it's two people on both the same goal. Because one, you have a redemption arc, which is Trevor Slattery, and another one is an underdog story. And they're kind of like meeting in between right there. You're getting two stories, and you got an underdog story and redemption arc. And those stories people love.
Yeah.
And you got people going and they're basically joining together. And the thing is, it's not like you normally get these, fish out of water, like these two guys from different walks of life where they butt heads like that. No, they were friends the whole time.
Yeah.
They
Like,
were cool with each other, and
like
that's rare when you see it. And it felt like they were really, really fan because maybe they're just that good of an actor, But it really felt like you could feel the chemistry through the screen with
yeah.
these guys.
Like when Simon's mom is talking to Trevor, it's like, hey, this is the first time Simon's ever brought a friend over.
Right.
But you saw that, like, Trevor saw that Simon had talent because he
Mhm.
saw that there was a line that the director, what was his name, Von Trapp,
Von Kovac or some shit.
Toback, yeah, the director. He's like an prestigious Oscar-winning director, and they show up
Yeah.
for the audition, and then he tells Simon at one point, "Yeah, you probably feel like shit or whatever on that, paraphrasing, but use that pain, use that trauma for art."
And you know what? I knew he was about to say that before he said it.
Yeah,
Because that's what you say. Like, that's when you're doing art and creativity. Like, you're going, a lot of the best art we've ever gotten in the history of everything, when people were in pain or like extreme emotions, and
struggle, yeah.
They pour that into their whatever,
Yeah.
their art.
I mean, there's that saying, suffering makes great art, but there's a truth to that because people are interpreting it and showing people how to cope with their own, struggles,
Right.
So, and that's what Trevor saw in Simon. Trevor saw that Simon had a lot of talent, and he wanted to nurture that and encourage that and bring it out of him because he saw that
Right.
Simon could do these things,
But
and that,
Simon had a big problem, like you said about the he didn't know how to connect with people. That's his
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
And that's why he kind of needed, Trevor in there. Matter of fact, the relationship was so good, like towards the end of the TV show, they almost came like a codependent relationship.
yeah.
Like, I need Trevor to help me do this.
And that's because Simon had spent his whole life hiding
Mhm.
and putting up a front and, hiding who he really was.
Mhm.
So that's why he was awkward. That's why he was constantly putting up an act. His whole life was an act.
Right.
Even with this girlfriend, was like, you never let me in. You don't trust me.
Which also could be another gay metaphor we're talking about.
Yeah, that's definitely in there.
Right. Did we mention it? Well, I don't think we mentioned it. Yeah, we did mention it. You said it
Yeah.
earlier. Okay.
Well, as I said, when I mentioned Midnight Cowboy,
Okay. Yeah.
that's blatantly blatantly obvious that they reference Midnight Cowboy.
Right. Also, let's talk about. I know we kind of breezed over the Doorman episode, the part 4. Like I said, the part 4 episode, Doorman, it was probably one of my favorite episodes of this whole season because it was so different. And another thing, because I think everything we talked about Doorman was true, but it's also kind of exploiting that 15 minutes of fame, which is brought us up to it. Because the first thing when I saw the Doorman episode, the first thing I thought about, the Hawk 2 girl.
Oh yeah.
It's the same thing. Like I said, you get that 15 minutes of fame, you become this internet sensation. Like I said, we were talking about Simon Wisdom, who got this talent bursting out of his ears, can't get anything.
Or the
Meanwhile, this guy who don't even want it just becomes
skateboard. What's his name? Nathan, the skateboard, drinking juice on the skateboard.
I guess, yeah.
know,
You're like, you got these people that just come out of nowhere and just burst all of a sudden and become this internet sensation, stuff like that. The internet can't get enough of them until they do get enough of them.
Yeah.
And then they want them gone. And then, just like the Hot 2 girl. Do you know what happened to her, Eli?
No, I know she did
Okay.
some stuff.
She scammed like a whole bunch of people. Yeah, she scammed a whole bunch of people, stuff like that, put her name on some stuff like that, ripped a whole bunch of people off, then she kind of disappeared with their money, stuff like that. But the point was, she pissed a whole lot of people off. Same thing they did with Doorman in this show before he killed Josh Gad, but still. But the thing was, like, he got in all the troubles like that, and I was like, it's like a really trippy, surreal episode, which is another thing that they were comparing to Midnight Cowboy. Enough, aside from being the gay male prostitute. One of the reasons that movie won so many Oscars and awards like that, because it was like this really realistic description of New York.
Mhm.
At the same time, they had these really trippy, surreal dream sequences in that same movie.
Mhm.
So it had a dichotomy of what's going on there. And they said it in the beginning of the movie, where Trevor said, that's why I love this movie so much, because it's realistic and trippy and surreal at the same time, which is what this show was.
Yeah.
It's the most realistic Marvel show we've gotten so far.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's got this real trippy, surreal stuff going on like that. Like that whole Doorman scene was a whole trippy, surreal scene. What they were doing.
Yeah, shot in black and white, and it just kind of, took a detour.
Right.
know.
And it's another show that it reminded me of also, which I've mentioned earlier. Atlanta.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was very, very Atlanta coding it because Atlanta would do the same thing. Atlanta will just like tell their story that they're doing, and then will just stop and tell a completely different story with completely different actors, completely different characters you never see again, and just tell this one-off episode story. I was like, oh damn, this is really like Atlanta. Like, and then I started thinking, and then not only that, but the episode after that, when they was like the episode when they were chasing that guy with the camera, the GoPro camera.
Oh yeah.
That is very much an Atlanta episode.
Yeah, and that's probably as closest that we got to superhero shit. Any kind
Right.
of, hey, let's use your powers to, solve a problem or whatever, or
Mhm.
rescue or whatever.
But even that wasn't just to do it, just to do it. It served the story.
Yeah, because in the middle of all that, oh shit, let's go do our audition. you know. So yeah, I didn't expect to like this. It wasn't what I was expecting, and I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. So yeah, I quite enjoyed this.
Like I said, I quite enjoyed it also, but like I said, you have to pay attention to what you're looking for.
Yeah,
That's why I can't really recommend this to every person that's a fan of Marvel because
Yeah.
it's a show in Marvel name only.
yeah, like it,
So
like it. The superhero motifs ground the story in Marvel, but it's not
Mhm.
a superhero show. It's not a comic book. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, and that's. But what I will say is this highlights what was the best strength that the MCU always had, which was showcasing the humanity of their characters, making
Right.
you care about these characters, making you care about these super beings and humanizing them. Like Iron Man,
Mhm.
he was a B-list, C-list Marvel character, and he ended
Right.
up becoming the leader of the Avengers. Yondu, like I said, when Yondu died, everybody cried.
Right.
But Superman
A
dies.
space pirate. But
Yeah, Superman dies in fucking BVS, and no one gave a fuck.
right.
Because that's what Marvel was good at doing. It was making us care about these characters, and that's what I liked about this. Is it brought back the humanity to these characters or to this character.
But something is irking me about this show, Eli. And not really, but I'm about to say something controversial, but I'm just gonna say it anyway. One thing about this show that I noticed that people were complaining that Marvel wasn't advertising it or promoting it, which I think is bullshit because Marvel was actually doing like a promotion every other week on their website. Y'all just wasn't promoting it. Y'all just wasn't sharing it or talking about it. So don't blame Marvel, blame yourself for that.
Yeah.
But what I've noticed is that people are watching this show. People are giving this show a chance. People are, looking into it. And it made me wonder, like, why is this show even getting traction? Before it came out, people were getting traction about it. Like, I want to see the show. I want to see what's going on with the show. Meanwhile, the other shows that Marvel put out, like She-Hulk and Miss Marvel, nobody gave a shit. Ironheart, nobody gave a shit. Nobody even looked at that shit. It's like that. Here's my controversial thing, Eli. Is it because it's starring a man?
Who knows? I don't know.
I'm just saying because the thing is, like I said, we're still in that Marvel box. Like I said, we like it that Marvel's stepping outside the box, but we're still in the Marvel box. Marvel has expectation what they want. So, like I said, let's go down the list. We had Ironheart, Miss Marvel, Agatha All Along, She-Hulk. Am I missing one?
Echo.
Probably. But yeah,
Echo.
nobody gave a fuck about any of those shows.
Yeah.
But like I said, nobody even decided to give those shows a chance. Maybe they're good, maybe they're not. Nobody decided to give a show the chance, but decided to give this show a chance. Because like I said, this is a Marvel show. Now I get what Disney was trying to do. Let's put all these other shows out to try to expand our demographic. That 4-quadrant thing we talked about before, like that. It didn't work. They didn't give a shit. I'm not saying women don't like Marvel, but what I'm saying is that the women that do like Marvel was going to watch all that shit anyway.
Mhm.
They watch Iron Man also like that. They were going to watch Agatha Long. It's not bringing in another demographic with that shit. Meanwhile, the fans that were of Marvel don't give a shit about Miss Marvel. They weren't going to watch that show to begin with. They weren't going to watch Ironheart. They were going to watch Echo, any of that shit like that. But they decided to give this show a chance. Like I said, it's got that Marvel stamp on it. So it's weird to me when I saw it. Like I was like, why is this show getting traction over there? Like, not saying the quality of the show, just people wanted to see this. People went out to see this. That's why it's a hit. And I think it's got something to it. Like, what are people's favorite shows in the MCU? Loki, Moon Knight. No, you don't give a shit about Moon Knight, but everybody else did. You know, this. Not WandaVision was a hit also, but WandaVision was like the first thing, so I can't really count that. But I'm saying there may be something to that. Like I said, what is the two Marvel movies people didn't give a shit about? Black Widow, the Marvels, you know, shit like that. So
Thor 3, Thor the Dark World.
that shit too. Yeah, that movie just sucked. I mean,
Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
I can, but that's just me though.
Yeah. Well, that's all I got to say about that. So maybe people agree, maybe people don't agree. But I just had to throw that out there. So yeah.
But yeah,
like said,
I saw Yaya on, was it Jimmy Kimmel? He's doing like press for this shit, and you know there was like
they're advertising the show. That's a myth that Marvel isn't advertising the show. They are advertising. Now, is Marvel doing some bullshit like dropping the Daredevil trailer the day of this show dropped out? Yeah, that was some bullshit. Could have waited a day, but you know, whatever.
Yeah, or till next week at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, some shit like that. Not like fuck. Let's drop it the day of we drop this show. So yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I give this I'll give it a 4.5 out of 5.
I'm gonna give it the same. I'm gonna give it a 5 because I don't think the show went as deep into the satire or the deconstruction of Marvel or superhero movies as I was hoping it would.
Yeah. Well, like
I think they were almost scared to do that.
Well, I think we went there with Deadpool. We went there with She-Hulk, and you know, where it is a deconstruction of MCU and a satire. This was more of just a drama and just the creativity of art. Like remember when we talked about, you know, the Superman movie and that scene, the behind the scenes with James Gunn and David Cornsweet when they were discussing that scene.
Yeah, and that scene happened in this show.
That's what this show is very much about. That was a movie an expanded version of that, you know, where you're just blurring real life, you know, an actor trying to figure out his performance, you know.
You know what's funny? A lot of actors that watch this show said this show is triggering for them.
Okay, yeah.
Especially that very first scene when he got fired from American Horror Story. They were like, it was triggering for them because they were like, dude, you overthinking it. Don't do it, because they had been in that same situation where they overthinking it, got fired from a job.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Or when the director's like, okay, you're eating your mom's cooking what animal was it? It was like weird animal. A hedgehog or something. Yeah. Your mom's baking a hedgehog. He's like, a hedgehog? Yeah, I want to see what that inspires out of you. Like, what the?
It's weird shit. So
yeah, so like, there's actually a lot of humor in this show, like,
right?
You know, because it is poking fun at like Hollywood and, you know, just the whole business side of things.
And the whole post-pandemic side of Hollywood also. Like Trevor Slattery didn't get the fact that he was auditioning himself in his own room. Like, when they start doing that shit, that's a post-pandemic thing. That's why it was so weird for him. So
yeah.
So, and
that Joey Pants took his part.
Joey Pants is the real villain of the MCU. Now we think about it.
Well, it's funny that because Joey Pants, I liked you in the, like, Yaya was like, I liked you in the Matrix. But then Yaya didn't he replace Morpheus? Wasn't he Morpheus in the last Matrix?
I love that the MCU doesn't acknowledge that movie. It didn't exist. So.
Yeah. So no, I quite enjoyed this.
So yeah. Now we move on to the next part of the podcast. We can move on. So yeah. But like I said, if you haven't watched it, we recommend it. But if you have the right frame of mind going into it. So.
Yeah, if you're expecting big giant superhero punchy punch explosions and beams flying in the sky, that's not this.
And stop with the Easter eggs and does this mean something for the future? And then Marvel Planet, stop.
This is its own thing. This is just a character study, you know, which might turn a lot of people off.
Why do people feel like they have to watch Marvel movies a different way than they would a regular movie?
Yeah, I mean that's what it was for me.
It's just a TV show. That's I'm gonna go a little bit deeper on this also. That's the pigeonhole that Marvel has been trying to do. Like I said, they out superheroed everybody on Endgame. Now what they're trying to do, because of Martin Scorsese, yo boy Marty, they've been trying to rebrand into a regular movie studio. They want actors to come there. They want directors to come there. They want writers to come there. But they still had that stigma, y'all just a superhero shit. They still get these actors just want to just sign it. I'm going to just sign on real quick, get a quick paycheck, play, you know, Thunder Man and some shit like that, and then just go make a real movie.
Yeah,
you know?
Lawrence Fishburne, you know, he's great actor.
I'm gonna just get a paycheck real quick, you know, just sign. What's the dude? Bill Murray. I'm gonna just get some Marvel money real quick like that.
Yeah.
They're trying to make a real studio. That's what they want to be.
Yeah.
But like I said, they still got the stigma. So no matter what they do, they're still gonna have that stigma on top of them because, like I said, they're trapped in that Marvel bubble.
Well, that's what pigeonholed Steven Spielberg.
Right.
Steven
Shout out to
Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg. He got an EGOT tonight.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, Steven Spielberg pretty much invented the modern day blockbuster with Jaws.
Mm-hmm.
Then he teamed up with George
Him
Lucas.
and George Lucas.
They were buddies, and they produced all these big spectacle movies that pretty much why Marvel exists.
Right.
But he had a lot of flack from critics. We're like, oh, this guy just makes popcorn movies. It's shallow. It's just feel good, fluff. There's no real substance to Spielberg movies, until he started making Color Purple, and still he started making Schindler's List, and that's when he started like really becoming prestigious as a filmmaker. Saving Private Ryan, and what's the other thing those other dramas he's
Hell, Shawshank. Did he do Shawshank?
No, that was Darabont, but
Okay.
But was it Bridge of Spies and stuff? The Paper and stuff like that. He started branching out. Not just doing his magical stories that he was known for. His fairy tales. Steven Spielberg just likes fairy tales.
Yeah, because he can out blockbuster anybody, but he
Yeah.
wants to go deeper. So yeah.
Yeah. So that's you could look at it through that. And then it's all back to Francis Ford Coppola. Was it Heart of Darkness, that documentary on the making of Apocalypse Now, where he basically went insane. Everybody went insane on that movie.
Right.
And that you saw bits of that in this show where Simon overthinks. What do I do? Blah, 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 blah. That creative process and trying to create something meaningful and groundbreaking can drive you nuts sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But main thing what I'm trying to say is that I think this show would even be more well received if it didn't have the Marvel stamp on it.
Yeah.
It's the same way with Andor. The same exact way with Andor.
Yeah.
It's like I tell people this is one of the best spy shows I've seen in decades. They're like, oh, what's on? Oh, it's on Disney Plus. It's a Star Wars show. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, same here. Like trying to explain Andor to a non-Star Wars fan is like, oh, really? But you don't need to know. There's no lightsaber, and that's how I feel with this. Like, yeah, like you have to convince somebody, well, if you want superhero shit, this is not that. But if you want character study and drama and, meaningful ideas and themes and relationships, this has a lot to say about all that,
Right.
But
like I said, people that want to see a Marvel show, are they looking for that?
Yeah. Because like I said, the first 2 episodes, I'm like, what's going on here? What is the point of this?
Right.
Is he going to be a super? Where is the villain? Yeah, I'm stuck in that Marvel box,
Right.
And it wasn't until I had to let all those expectations go and just accept what I was watching. I'm like, wow, this is actually.
And like I said, I don't blame you for that. I mean, Marvel did it to themselves.
Yeah, and I just had to ride it out because I almost gave up on part 2 or episode 2.
Right.
And then when he's, oh shit, this guy's got powers. Okay, I'll check out the next episode, and then you go into the family and the family dynamic with the brother and what he's going through, and I'm like, I think I know what this is going now. I think this is just then the references to Midnight Cowboy and the references to and that scene, the opening scene where he gets fired from the set, and like, okay, let me see where this goes, and then this is just a show about a friendship. A building of a friendship, over making art. Two artists becoming friends, and I enjoyed it.
Nice thing. All right. Now can we move on to the next part of the podcast?
Sure.
I know it took us forever today to get there, but now we're going to. All right. Like I said, this is Comic Book Bullets. We were talking about comic books. We're going to jump into it. And Eli, I'm going to let you go first because you got more books than I do. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll just stick in with superhero shit.
Okay.
I'll do Absolute Batman, number
Absolutely.
16, The Absolute Universe.
Yeah, this is like a tie-in with Wonder Woman. So I'm trying to spoil it for you, but yeah.
Yeah. So Bruce Wayne wants to cure Waylon from being Killer Croc, who has mutated into this Killer Croc monster. So, and also Two-Face or Harvey and Oswald are also injured in the whole Arkham thing, and they're, so he wants to save
Bane
this.
did all that shit
Yeah,
to him.
they're
So,
all in the hospital, all fucked up, and so Bruce Wayne wants to cure them, wants to help them. So he's starting out with Waylon, who's Killer Croc, who's this big mutant crocodile monster thing, and he goes get Wonder Woman, who knows magic. He's tried everything else, but nothing's working. So he's going to go to Wonder Woman because she knows magic. So I was like, okay, we can go. I can try this, but we're going to have to go on a journey. We're going to have to go on a fellowship. We're going to have to go on an odyssey, a quest. So they go to, do they go to hell? Yeah, they end up going to hell where Diana was raised, and they encounter all these beasts and, beasts of yore or lore or whatever. They go, it's a fantasy journey, to finally find a centaur, who has the magic to maybe save Killer Croc, but you have to beat him in battle to do it. So they do. They finally find the centaur, this giant centaur at the end, and they start fighting him. And it's like the centaur. It's Diana and Bruce versus the centaur, and Diana got her giant sword, and Batman's got his giant axe that's on his chest. And it's a big, there's your superhero action right there. Punchy punch shit. But then Bruce gets shot with the centaur's arrow. But then, and he gets fucked up. And then Wonder Woman goes and just straight up knocks out the centaur. And then is carrying Bruce. Like, she's carrying Bruce over her shoulder like he's a sack of potatoes.
I mean, she's already bigger than him, taller than him. So.
Yeah. And Bruce comes through, and he comes to, oh shit, we lost the battle. I didn't go, no. He's like, no, you got the magic. He's like, how? He's like, well, that arrowhead he shot you with. Pull the arrowhead out of him. Now this has to be mixed with mortal blood for it to work. So take this arrowhead and go give it to, who needs it. So he does. He goes and gives the arrowhead to Killer Croc, or leaves it in the sewer. He's like, hey, Waylon, this necklace. He puts the arrowhead as a necklace, and like, wear this, let it touch your skin. You are never alone. And it's the last panel is the lizard hand grabbing the necklace. So that's where it ends. So this was cool. This was fun. Wonder Woman and Batman on a quest to, fight fantastic beasts and,
where to find them.
And, on a quest, an odyssey, a fellowship, I thought this was a lot of fun. So I'll give it a 4 out of 5.
Okay, cool. Up to me now. Let's get where we're going to go. Okay, so the next book I'm going to do is actually a little bit longer than what I normally do. But I'm gonna do it anyway. This is another DCKO tie-in.
Okay.
Yeah. This is The Kids Are All Fight.
Okay.
That's the name of the story. So yeah, let me see if I can blow this bitch up. Bam. Like I said. So it's kind of a Teen Titans book, but not a Teen Titans book. It's just a thing. Yeah. But we're gonna talk about it. Yeah, we're gonna get to it, and we'll get to it. Bam. Like I said, The Kids Are All Fight. Let's jump into it. And
is that spoiler, or who is that?
Batgirl. Yo girl.
The Batgirl? Okay.
Yeah, Cassandra Cain.
Okay, so she's not
spoiling for you, but yeah, she's on the cover. All right. So the book starts off with John Kent and Donna Troy. And why did Donna Troy look like she got a BBL? I don't know. Moving on past that. Point is,
you don't have to look at it.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. I'm canceled. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, let's look at it anyway. Point is, John Kent, because they're about to go back to Earth, and Darkseid is like completely just screwed up Earth, stuff like that. John Kent, like I got all the powers of Superman. Like I got all the powers of my dad. Why am I stuck on this, watchtower in space when I could be down on the front line helping people? It's because you got to watch after the kids. I got to watch after the who? Like us. She means us. And this is who the start of the team is. So these are kids. This is Fair Play. Like I said, we saw Fair Play, Mr. Terrific book. That's Mr. Terrific's son. This is Boom. That's Jake Garrick's daughter. That's Cheshire Cat. That's Cheshire and Arsenal's daughter. And this is Quiz Kid, who is Fairplay's sidekick. Now, how does a sidekick get a sidekick? I don't know. It's just what it is. And they go to it like, oh, my bad. I didn't mean to talk about it. I'm like, that's okay. Super Son or Superboy or what's your name? Superman. Come on, man. You know, that's when Arsenal shows up. He was like, okay, look, you got to stay here with the kids because we're going to go down to the thing. And he talks to Cheshire. You going to be okay? You're like, yeah, Dad, I'm going to be okay. And she gives a hug, you know, like, I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of heartwarming. You know, he wasn't expecting that. So he was like, okay, you to watch after my kids. I'm gone, you know. So he was like, hold up, let's wait up. And meanwhile, Fairplay notices something on Earth. He was like, hold up, something's not right there. He was like, how do you see that little frequency that's there? Because the way his mind works, he doesn't stop until he can figure it out because he's on the spectrum. Now, I'm gonna talk about this later on. We're gonna come back to that, but yeah. And the other kid sees it too, because like I said, his sidekick is on the spectrum also. But the point is, they like, oh, she's down there, and they talking with each other so much that other people don't even understand what they're talking about. They just tell them, they say like, her, who is her? And they talk about Granny Goodness. We know where Granny Goodness is. She's on planet Earth right now. Obviously doing some fucked up shit right now because Granny Goodness kidnapped him. That's why he kind of wants revenge, or actually wants to stay away from her. So they decide to just go down to the Earth and see what's going on, but they can't go down there because, you know, they pretty much blocked out access from them. And that's what Cheshire says. Well, yeah, that's why I hugged my dad and stole his Justice League card. So now we can access, but that's why I hugged him. I ain't hugged him because I miss him. I just want his card because I was going to escape out of here 5 seconds away from as soon as he left anyway. But since I got the card, y'all come with me. So that's when Superman, John Kent, is talking to them. He's just like, look, man, why don't you just let me go with you? You're like, no, because I need you to watch after these kids, especially my kid, because that's the most important thing in the world to me. And if you don't rescue my kid, I'm going to find Alice Kryptonite Arrow, and I'm coming for you. We're out. So he leaves. He was like, okay, cool. So he decides to go back with the kids, and the kids are already gone. They're out of here. He decides to check the mess hall. He checks the training room. He checks the trophy room. He checks, I don't know what the hell going on in this room, but yeah. But he keeps going on. He realizes kids are going. So he decides to fly outside of the watchtower, X-rays them, finds them. He's like, okay, this is easy. This is a job for Superman. And he goes there and finds them and tries to stop them from leaving because they're heading to the hangar. And turns out it's not even them. It's a hologram. So they've already escaped. He's just thinking he saw him, but he didn't. And that's when he gets that flashback of what Roy told him, like, I'm going to kill your ass if you let my daughter, if any harm comes to my daughter. So, yeah, he likes that. So, I don't know when the Boom 2 start working like Star Trek, but that's what we got now. And Chester just like, you know, everybody's like a zombie headed to a certain place, like what the hell they headed to. And that's when they realize they are getting attacked by, bam, the female Furies. But not only female Furies, we also got Bernadette, who is Desaad's sister, Lashina, Guillotina, Mad Harriet. Yeah, all these are Jack Kirby creations. They've been around for decades. And then you got some other ones, Stargirl, Wonder Girl, and Wally West's daughter, Thunderheart. Well, one of the Tornado twins. So they're like, okay. So that's when John Kent's like, look, I need your help. I can't tell anybody else because I can't let Arsenal find out I lost his daughter. But Damian said you can help me. So look, if you help me, I'll owe you a Superman IOU. That means whatever you need, I'll show up, take care of it. Okay, fine. I'll give you 3 IOUs. And as we get bam, Cassandra Cain. She's carbo loading in the mess hall right now. She's like, no, you give me 4 IOUs, Superman, and then we can go. So she's like, cool. So they go down there to Earth and they get in a fight and they get their ass kicked by the female Furies and they get kidnapped. Everybody gets kidnapped except one person. Fairplay escapes because he didn't want to get captured by Granny Goodness again and get tortured and all this shit like that. So he gets the fuck up out of there. And they decide to take him back to Granny Goodness, everybody else. And that's when Superman and Batgirl finds him. And they decide to have a one-on-one because he was just like, man, Granny Goodness kidnapped me, tortured me, stuff like that. And John's like, yeah, I know the feeling. I got kidnapped and tortured by Ultraman for 5 years. So we're in the same boat. But we need to show them that we're stronger than that. But how do we do that? By fighting. Let them fight or fight back with it like that. So they find Granny Goodness. She finally shows up. She's basically mind controlling everybody, bringing everybody towards them. And that's when Fairplay shows up, bam, and Superman shows up. and he's got that electric boogaloo powers again. I don't know where that came from. So yeah, he's there. He's like, he gonna take more than Kal-El to stop me. He like, I figured that's why I brought her. Bam, Cassandra Cain kicks the shit out of her, you know. And everybody's fighting, but then that's when Granny like juices up her mind control machine a little bit more and controls everybody. So now everybody's done. She was like, don't worry. And when the metahuman I came to Earth looking for gets here, y'all are really gonna be in trouble. And that's when everybody gets mind control from then, gets knocked out, stuff like that. And then she gets shocked. And she was like, and then we got one dude walking in there. He was like, oh, yeah, it's been a while since I put this suit on. But when you came to my city, in my town, I had to come back. And who is it? Static. That's why I got this book. This is a black book. So, yeah. Static, not Static Shock. Static. There's a difference. Every time you say Static Shock, that shit irritates the fuck out of me. So, yeah. So, Static is
You
actually
die a little inside.
Yeah, like stop saying that, man. You know.
Oh,
So, yeah.
just a little sidetrack. At the end of the Wonder Man show, when his hand started getting sparks, I was like, "Oh shit, no, they're not giving him electric powers."
Not electric powers. So, yeah.
But then he ended up flying. Out.
No, he's gonna like shock the guards and some shit. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Like I said, it's ionic. You do whatever you want to. So yeah. So Granny Goodness is like, that's the metahuman I was looking for. Come to Granny, because she thinking he's mind control also because she got her mind control machine. Instead, you're like, nah, that mind control you hit me with, I cancel the shit out with my electric powers. Matter of fact, let me show you how I did it. And Granny's like, no, you can't do that. This is apocalypse tech. This is indestructible. They're like, is it now? And bam, blows it up. So, and then all the heroes wake up. They were like, oh, what the hell going on? They're like, that dude with the dreads freed us. They're like, okay, well, let's get up and let's whoop Granny's ass. That's what Granny's like, I'll get you next time, my pretties, and all this shit. And they're just like, well, we'll be ready. And that's the book. So,
Okay.
yeah, that's the book. So, a lot of questions because, like I said, Static was in the sorry about to say, the Milestone universe. Milestone universe was separate from the DC universe at first, but now it's all one thing because of Wibbly Wobbly time travel, stuff like that. So Static, the Milestone universe exists in the DC universe. He's canon now. They'll explain that shit later on. I think there's a book that comes out this month that explains how the Milestone universe fits into the DC universe, but because you had to wait till February to do that. So yeah. Overall, cool book, 4 to 5, longer than what I expected, but kind of a throwaway book overall of the DC universe. But hey, Static's in it, so that's the only reason I got it because Static was in it. So yeah. All right, so what you got next?
I guess I'll do Skinbreaker.
Skinbreaker, cool. Okay.
Skinbreaker number 5. Robert Kirkman, David Finch, just flexing.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Robert Kirkman's new series about a tribe of orcs that he has somehow turned into a political drama. So this chief was overthrown by the warriors because he was more into using technology and traps and sort of modernizing, making irrigation for water instead of doing the old ways of hunter gathering and the warrior hunter code, So he was challenged by one of the younger warriors to become chief, and he ended up leaving. He fled instead of being killed. He fled and ran into the woods. And so this issue picks up. There's some time has gone by. The warriors are just going out hunting these big giant monster things. I believe they're called silver fangs. And the old chief, is just living in the woods, living off the land. He has no armor. He doesn't really have weapons. He's made weapons, like spears and stuff. He's living with the environment, with the land, and surviving, And then he runs into his wife, who's still out in the field gathering berries, gathering harvest. And he talks to her. He's like, hey, he says, oh, you're alive still. And she's like, yeah, I'm out here surviving. What's going on in the village? He says, oh, we're starving. We have not, and, the hunters haven't killed anything in a while. So, the women and the farmers are forced to go out and pick berries and, harvest, vegetables for the warriors who don't ever leave us anything. you know, and so and then she goes back to the village and gives the chief, you know, the warrior chief, like, this is what we picked today. This is our daily harvest, and the warriors just start eating, and like, hey, we're hungry too. Can we have some? He's like, nope. You know, the hunters need it. The hunters are hungry, and we need to eat because we need to go hunt. And if we don't hunt, then nobody eats. So, you know, so only the hunters have been eating. There's like this hierarchy, and the rest of the tribe are starving. So obviously, this chief and she even questions. She's like, hey, this ain't working. You know, the woman tells the chief, this ain't working. Your warrior ways are not benefiting the whole village, the whole tribe. You know, we and people are like, we could put up those traps that the old chief had. Remember those traps put up, and it caught you know, some of the game, and we could put up the irrigation again to get us water and blah 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 blah. You know, and he's like, nope, we will not go back to those old cowardly ways. We are going, you know, that chief was a coward, and he made us weak with all his tools. We're a warrior tribe, and this is the only way. You know, so the old chief who's in the woods, he sees this, and he made a bugle, and he blows it and calls in one of those monster things, and they end up killing it and feeds them. So the village eats because the old chief is in the woods, and he called the bugle call to lure in the beast so they could actually eat. You know, but then he does another bugle call, and then the village gets attacked by a bunch of them. And of course, the chief and the warriors are all, you know, killing the monsters. Like, we will fight. We are warriors. Blah 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 blah. You know, but then the chief almost gets killed by a monster. But then he saved the old chief, is up in the trees, and he throws a spear and saves the chief. You know, hey, it's the old chief. He's still alive. Damn it! It's like, you know, he just saved your life. And he goes, he did that to shame me. We must go out and hunt him. And so that's where it ends. So this issue really showed, you know, this whole series is just about, you know, what makes a society work, you know, and just sort of these different ideologies. You know, you have the warriors that are all about strength and force and might makes right, and you know, the alpha male toughness is what helps us survive. And then you had the more pragmatic chief who's like, no, we can use the environment, use tools and technology to, you know, not only make life easier, but also protect ourselves, you know, from, you know, the monsters and stuff out there. You know, so there's those two ideologies just clashing. But in this issue, it shows that the warrior chief, basically just became a dictator. Right. And obviously the ways of war is not benefiting the whole village, and he's failing as a leader, and the woman tells him that. So again, I like that this is a very political story being told through a tribe of orcs. So yeah, this is another 4 out of 5. I'm really digging this story. The art is awesome, and it's got a lot to say. So that's
I gotta say, I didn't know Finch had this in him.
It's
art. Wow, like, I mean, he's always a great artist, but like, I don't know, he feel like on another level with the art.
Yeah,
I'm looking at
the art is awesome, and the story is awesome. So this is just becoming one of my favorite books right now. So,
okay.
So yeah, 4
like
out of 5.
Kirby always killing it. So I need to get on Battle Beast, man. Battle Beast was like one of the best selling comics last year, and I read the first issue and didn't read the rest of them. So that's on me. I need to get on Battle Beast, but yeah. All right. We'll next for our podcast.
Yeah.
All right. So this is where I do my Black History Month retro book. I'm going to do a Black superhero.
Okay.
Yeah. The Black superhero I'm going to do is Spawn.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you were going to do Rocket Racer. No.
Maybe next week.
But okay, we can do Spawn. I'm down with Spawn.
Spawn is a Black superhero, might as well.
Yeah, man. Al Simmons.
So I'm doing a very specific issue, Eli. I'm pretty sure you've read this one. This is the issue
with Cerebus, yeah.
With Cerebus. You remember that issue, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Okay. I've been wanting to do this book since we started this podcast. He's like, this is one of my favorite comics of all time.
Okay.
Yes, this Cerebus issue.
Well,
Is
take a trip down memory lane then.
It's down memory lane. Like I said, I don't know when the last time you read this book. I read it when it first came out.
Yeah,
and this book has stuck with me.
Back in the 90s.
Back in the 90s. So yeah, we're gonna talk about. For those who know who Cerebus is, maybe I'll explain. Maybe
he's an aardvark. Isn't he an aardvark?
Isn't he like a barbarian aardvark?
He's like his he did crossovers with Ninja Turtles.
He did. Yeah. He was. I can't remember what his. I think he was like a barbarian or some shit like that.
Yeah, he was like a barbarian aardvark.
Yeah, weird ass comic. But anyway, we're not here to talk about Cerebus.
Actually, we are here to talk about Ninja Turtles.
Actually, we are here to talk about Cerebus because the writer of this story isn't Todd McFarlane. It's Dave Sims who created Cerebus, which is why Cerebus is in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get to it. Cerebus. Okay. So, bam. The book starts off with So the book starts off with two things going on. So it's Spawn on this side, but it's not Spawn on this side. So you got two people telling the story. And the other guy is saying, I'm not Spawn. And he's kind of giving you the whole history of Spawn. If you don't know who Spawn is, go watch the HBO show. It'll tell you. So give you a thing about it. And this guy who is not Spawn telling you, I'm not Spawn because I know stuff Spawn don't know. I know Sam and Twitch, who they are and why they're tracking him. I know how he's going to meet them. I know what's going to happen in the future of this story. I know where the Violet is right now. And the levels of hell that Al Simmons don't know about. I know about all the levels of hell. Every level except one level that I don't know about. Level 7.
The McFarlane excess. Just cramming everything into everything.
Right. But like I said, he didn't write this. So yeah. So he's going to, so he decided to, and also like, Spawn has that limited time before he goes back there. Like he going to use a limited portion of his powers. Not this Spawn. This version of Spawn can use powers anytime he wants to. He has unlimited power. So he decides to go to the 7th level of hell and explore it. So he's right there and he just opens it. Yeah. And who does he see? Some people chained up in a row. He's like, okay, who the hell are these people like that? What the fuck? They all just lined up right beneath each other like that. Oh, yeah. And he decides to keep walking in there. And he sees on the left side of those guys, this panel. This is one of the most iconic panels in comic book history. Oh, there, I got to, Give me all that. Give me all that. Give me all of that. Okay. So what does this panel mean? I got to explain this panel. On the right side of the panel are the creators of the comics. And on the left side, chained up, is all of the characters they created. Venom, Doctor Doom, Hulk, Shazam, Batman, Wonder Woman, Captain America, Thor, Juggernaut, Flash, The Thing. All these people like that.
Can you zoom
Dr.
in?
Octopus.
Does he name any of those characters?
No, he can't.
Yeah, I'm about to say, but it's McFarlane, and he drew all these characters before. Like when he worked for them.
Right. He drew these characters, right. So,
yeah.
But, no, he doesn't name any of these characters because, legally, Spider-Man's right there. Legally, he can't name these characters.
Doc Ock and all that shit. Yeah.
Right. So, yeah. So, Spawn's like, what the hell? So, this is hell. They're in hell right now. So, yeah. And so, Spawn is trying to free all the people under like Hulk and Superman and stuff like that. Because remember, he didn't have a limited amount of powers. He can use all of his power. He blasts it. Nothing happens. He's like, what the fuck? I'm using all my power and nothing happens to it. So, all of the people in the cage, all the characters, give Spawn the power. Like, take a power, Spawn. Have our power. You can have it. It's yours. So, yeah, and that's when Spawn is like, and that's when he meets the Star Child. The one who came first. Yeah, we can't say who his name is legally. At least not now. Maybe 10 years from now. Well, maybe 5 years from now we can. So he gives Spawn his power. So Spawn has more power than he's ever had before. And he blasts it again. Nothing. So no matter what he does, he can't free these characters. So, as a matter of fact, he gets an image of the Violet. I didn't get this image. I didn't understand it when I read it when I was younger. But as clear as day what he's doing now. So it's the Violator. And I'm going to blow this panel up again. Violator is giving him an option. All the money in the world, or your heart on the other end, which is his soul. And while he's made of money himself, basically he's offering him the same deal that the everybody in hell is having. So yeah, it's like, and we keep going and we keep talking about he leaking all the creators over there, and that's when he sees he who came first. And all he says is doomsday. And remember, this is when it happened.
Was this about right? I was gonna say, is this about right when that shit happened?
It's exactly when it happened. Yeah. So, and that's when he is Spawn, and that's when you get Cerebus. He like, let's go. He was like, where we going? I gotta save him.
I like how it turns black and white because Cerebus was in black.
Because Cerebus was black and white. It was a black and white comic, right?
Yeah.
He was like, you can't save them. There's nothing you can. No matter how much power you have, you can't save these people. But what they're doing is they're putting all their faith and hope into you. So, like, because they're superheroes. Because the thing is, these are all the creators that lined up. They had to sell their soul to when they made these characters. They had to sell them to a big corporation, and that's why they're in hell, because they don't own these characters anymore. But you, on the other hand, Spawn, your creator owns you. My creator owns me. Because at the time when this book was written, Cerebus had the record for the longest running independent comic. Spawn broke it like a few years ago, but yeah, but at the time it was it. So basically, it's like we don't have to worry about that because we're not trapped, we're not confined like they are. We can do as we want. So it's like, why is this book great? Oh yeah, because you're my comic. But now let's go to your comic, and we go to this big house, and he sees a big house right here, and who is it? He decides to goes upstairs. He was like, yeah, you got a whole bunch of baseball cards in here, and like Wayne Gretzky stuff and stuff like that. And you got a hot dish. And then he goes up and, he sees his daughter, Cyan. Remember, Spawn had his daughter that he can't get near. And he goes to her and she's just there. She's white, but she's still there. There's a reason. We'll explain that in a second. But yeah. And she like, Dad. He like, Dad. So she's not scared of him, not afraid of him. He just walked to her and pick up his daughter, which is all he ever wanted in the comic. So yeah, he was like, how am I doing this? And he was like, yeah, because your creator didn't sell you. He still owns you. So that's why you can see everything he can see. So yeah, and he just like, she's like, her name is Cyan. That's your daughter's name. And he hugs her and like sings to her, stuff like that. It's a beautiful name. And downstairs, his wife Wanda is asking for him. And Cerebus is like, well, my job is done. You handle it. And Cerebus just disappears, And he goes down and she, he hands her the phone because David tell him, hey, it's time to come back, man. His creator. So, yeah. So Spawn, I'm out. My creator's asking for me. Tell Wanda I said hi. And he goes downstairs and Wanda's just like, baby, I'm home. Are you there? And Spawn's just like, goes downstairs like, yeah, Wanda, I'm coming. So what's the meaning of that story? I didn't get it until now, but I get it now. Here's the thing. Todd McFarlane's daughter in real life name is Cyan. And his wife in real life is named Wanda, or at least back then. So the characters Spawn, like his wife and his daughter, were based on Todd McFarlane's real life. Okay. So that's why he went. So basically, the entire book is not Spawn; it's Todd McFarlane going through the story. Mm-hmm. So that's the story. So
deep, very, very Grant Morrison. Like,
yeah, even though Grant Morrison had nothing to do with this, Grant Morrison was like, this give me ideas. So yeah, like I said, the whole thing is metaphysical. This is like one of the first meta comics I ever read. I didn't know that was a concept at the time when I read it. I was like, okay, you got to read between the lines and all stuff like that. So,
I mean, I didn't get it until I read it later on either.
But, like this stuff when you read as young, you're not gonna catch it then. Yeah. But when I started getting the context of it, like, so basically that's why his daughter is scared of, because it's his daughter. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
but McFarlane did that a lot. He got like guest writers that first run of Spawn, those first few years. He got like, what's his face, Neil Gaiman. Didn't he create Angela or whatever?
Angela, yeah.
So he got guest writers,
and then had to sue him to get Angela back because Todd McFarlane well, she belongs to me now.
Yeah. But he always had guest writers. Where Max was the guy who did the Max and
the Max, Frank Miller,
and then Savage Dragon, and didn't Pitch show up at one point? Dale.
I think so. Dale Keough, he just had a whole bunch of guest writers just lined up like that. So all kind of Spawn mythos and stuff like that. But yeah, like I said, I love the story. 5 out of 5 today. Technically, this is a black book. The funny thing about Spawn, like, why is Spawn black in begin with? The thing is, because it was a joke from Todd McFarlane. That's why. Yeah. Because Todd McFarlane just like, okay, every character I write, why do y'all just assume they're white. Like when he was writing Spider-Man, like, why you just assume Spider-Man is white? Spider-Man even screwed with somebody like in one of those books that he was drawing. He was like, "Why do you think I'm white?"
Yeah, because
You
he
don't see
said,
blood on
yeah,
my face.
he
Yeah,
webbed, yeah, Spider-Man saved somebody, webbed up the criminal, and the guy he saves like those damn derogatory racial slur. And Spider-Man, what color do you think I am under this mask? Like,
right.
yeah,
And that's why he was doing Spawn. Like the second issue of Spawn when he wrote it, Spawn was a white guy when he wrote it, and then he looked in the mirror. He like, wait a minute, I'm not white. And then he changed, and that's what it was. So it was a whole. So he was just messing with people. He was like, because the story I'm telling, it don't matter what race Spawn is in. The story is gonna be the story regardless.
yeah,
So that's all. Still a black superhero. Don't care. So
Yeah.
yeah. Like I said, 5 out of 5. Love it.
one of the longest running. Yeah, well, like you said, one of the longest running indie comics. Now.
Well, it is now. It broke the record.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah. Anything? Well, you got it. You got another book, don't you?
What do I got? G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe number 18.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Energon universe. This is just like a one-shot standalone story featuring Roadblock, one of my favorite G.I. Joe characters.
Because they wrapped up the story in another one, right?
Yeah, the Dreadnought War is done. So this picks up Roadblock, Marvin. What's his last name? Marvin something? I forget his last name. But Roadblock.
The guy the Rock played?
Yeah. But he was a black guy. He was a ball. He kind of reminded me of what's his face?
Terry Crews.
Yeah, kind of like that. I was thinking of the guy who I can't remember his name now. But
I mean, technically, the Rock's a black guy too, but he wants to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, Roadblock retired. He's no longer in the military. He went back to Biloxi, Mississippi.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
And opened up a food truck where he makes grilled cheeses or something like that. Marvin's Melts.
Marvin's Melts. Okay.
Yeah, Marvin's Melts, and he's a everybody in town loves him, and so he's having fun. He's enjoying his life after the military. Well, Tomax and Zaymot, those twins that are working with Destro, they're a part of Extensive Industries or Extensive Enterprises, kind of partnered with Destro weapons manufacturing. They approached Roadblock and like, hey, we heard you used to be ex-military, and we would like to hire you, and your brand and use your brand to for recruitment for our cause, for our company. And Marvin's like, or Roadblock's like, yeah, that's fine. A lot of people have been doing that, and I know who you guys are. So no, I'm gonna politely decline.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, come on, they try to convince him. He says, nope, I'm done. You guys, I'm, out of respect, I'm just, I'm not beating the shit out of you guys right now because I know who you guys are and blah, blah, blah. But you guys got to go. So he leaves, and so Tomax and Zaymot are like, okay, yeah, we didn't get his brand, but we can still take it from him. So let's send in the Crimson Guards. So after they leave, they send in the Crimson Guards, those red Cobra guys. They show up and start fucking attacking the food court or the food spot, and, Roadblock starts whooping ass, grabs the turret gun, the heavy, like the mini gun, and then flips over the truck. So I guess this Roadblock has like superhuman strength. He flips over the truck. And then goes chasing after the Tomax and Zaymot twins, and he in his food truck. He crashes the food truck into their car, and then pulls out the minigun and just starts blasting everything. It blows up their car, and they end up escaping and all that, and then they go back to he goes back to the food place, and then I think it's Clutch and CoverGirl are there. Like, hey, Marvin, remember us? He's like, oh man, you guys are bad. And then we cut to Springfield, that suburban neighborhood that's actually a secret Cobra base, and Destro and Cobra Commander are talking, And they're like, oh, well, these guys tried to kill you in the desert, but you've actually recruited them. He's talking about the Dreadnoks.
Mhm.
So that, that's clever thinking. It's like, yep, well, we will still, take over the world, basically, and then it is revealed at the end that Destro or Cobra Commander knows that Destro set him up and had the Dreadnoks try to kill him, but he knows that.
Okay.
So and that's kind of where it ends. So plotting and scheming. So this was just a lot of fun. This is probably my book of the week. Oh yeah, it's my book of the week. 5 out of 5. Roadblock kicking ass again with a food truck and moving the plot along as far as like the greater Energon universe. So yeah, 5 out of 5.
Nice. Anything else you got, or
I mean, I did read that Infernal Hulk was at number 3.
did that come out? Okay.
Yeah, I guess that got a lot of attention because it dealt with a lot of triggering issues, as far as mental health. It was pretty cool. It was more of an exploration on how Bruce Banner got ripped off, like the eldest, that monster god, ripped Bruce Banner out of the Hulk and uses the Hulk body and is now on a rampage. And Bruce Banner just kind of went into hiding, and he's kind of enjoying not having to deal with the Hulk anymore. So it's kind of an exploration on people or like a monster pretending to be human.
You're right.
But then there's this really cool scene where like Tony Stark and Captain America show up and like, yo, Bruce, what's up? Why are you hiding? He's like, because I'm free. I'm actually happy. I'm not miserable for a change. Like, yeah, well, the Hulk is tearing up the place. He's like, hey, well, I can't control him. He got ripped out of me. He's like, yeah, but that's your monster. And, now it's everybody's monster. It's everybody's problem. So
they
now,
want Banner to
yeah, so Banner is now at that conflicted choice. What does he do? And that's kind of where it ends. So it was interesting. I'll give that a 4 out of 5 too.
Nice. Okay. Shoot. Anything else we got? I'm booked out. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Like I said, if you listen this long, definitely like, share, subscribe. Like I said, next week I don't know what else will come out. We'll figure something out. It'll be a crazy week. I'll have another retro book going on. Maybe I'll do Rocket Racer then, or not. But yeah, that's it. Like, appreciate it. Like I said, we talked about Wonder Man as long as we could. I don't know how deeper we could go into Wonder Man, but yeah, we went there.
Yeah, we kind of went longer than I expected.
Yeah, I didn't know. Like I said, we never know when we start. We just got to see where we go.
Yeah.
But until then, this is Leroy.
This is Eli.
We'll talk to you guys next week. Same bullet time, same bullet chat.